Welcome to the Angler's Wisdom Podcast,
supercharged by Amped Outdoors Lithium.
Today, anglers fish longer. Today, anglers fish harder. Today, anglers rely more than ever on their electronics. It all comes down to catching more fish, and today, anglers rely on Amped Outdoors lithium batteries, period.
catch more fish,
Learn tips, tricks,
techniques, and secrets, and decades of angler's wisdom. Welcome to the show.
Oh, yeah! Yeah! Oh!
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah!
Woo! If that doesn't fire you up, I don't know what will. Welcome back to the Angler's Wisdom Podcast. I'm sweating over here. I had some technical difficulties, so I literally just jumped in the studio about 30 seconds ago. Got my notes up and the intro ready. Got the guests loaded. So this should be a really incredible episode. And I changed the studio a little bit just to give it a little bit more of a USA vibe. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Welcome back to the Angler's Wisdom Podcast, where we just don't talk fishing. We talk legacy, leadership, and chasing your wildest dreams with a rod in your hand. Tonight is special because, switching stuff up. You know, I'm always improving, and I got a little bit of a script, and I'm starting to use this teleprompter just to make me smoother and stuff like that. But like I said, I was had a little bit of issues. Okay. So because for the first time ever, we're bringing together the youth who represented the red, white, and blue on a global stage and did it with passion, pride, and heart. These young anglers just returned from Zimbabwe, Africa, where they competed in the Tri-Nations Youth Bass Fishing World Cup. They didn't just show up. They brought us home a bronze medal for the U.S. and formed friendships and relationships across the world that will last a lifetime. They did it the right way. They did it with grit, character, and incredible sportsmanship, the kind the world needs to see more of. But they didn't do it alone. Joining us tonight is also the coach and the organizer that put together this incredible opportunity for the youth. So let's, what we're going to do real quick. Philly, did we get that uploaded by chance?
Of course.
Thank you, sir. I got a little something special for you guys. And most importantly, a little something special for the USA Bass Youth Team. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. And once everybody gets in the studio, we got a little surprise for you. So first, I will go ahead and introduce sorry, guys. Teleprompter issues. Let me get back to my. Okay, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and introduce Clint Skinner all the way from Zimbabwe. So Clint you're up pretty early, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just past 2 a.m. here, Chuck.
Nice.
Morning, everyone in the USA.
I appreciate you staying up late and maybe taking a nap earlier to join us.
Chuck, I wore this just for you, mate.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, I actually first met Clint down in Tennessee at the Kayak Fishing World Championship in 2023. I didn't compete in that one, but I went down to help the anglers and support my international fishing family, and ultimately support, this cause and this belief that we're all working towards. So let's go ahead and introduce the coach, Jason Uldrych.
Hey, Chuck, it's an honor. Thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. And I believe we have 8 members of the USA Bass Youth team. So we'll go ahead and introduce them. And I apologize if I get any of the names wrong, but I'll try my best. First, we have Nate Uldrych, Caleb Moore, Grace Olson, Jackson Rumbanis. Sorry, Jackson. Adrius Stankus, Zach Stahl, Braden Rivers, and there's one more that I don't see on this list, Phil. I'll check on that. But anyways, welcome to the show. Thank you guys for joining us. And first, I just want to start off by when I was watching you guys over there and watching the videos that Clint was doing, I was extremely impressed at not only the respect and the camaraderie, but the sportsmanship that all of you portrayed, and also most importantly, the support for the team, for each other, because at the end of the day, we all love to catch fish, but each and every one of us know that it's so much more important than that. So with that being said, I wrote a little something for you, and with a little help from some friends, I put it together. So Philly D, let's kick that off.
I was raised where the field meets the sky, where you work what you've got and you hold your head high, where freedom ain't given, it's earned in the dust, and the stars only shine when you fight for what's just.
We learn respect and the power of pride, to stand for each other no matter the side. It's the burn in your chest when that anthem rings. It's the silence that falls when the liberty sings.
It ain't red or blue, it's red, white, and soul. It's the heart of the people who carry the whole. I stand for this, the brave and the free, for the dreamers who died so we'd all get to be, for the soldier, the builder, the nurse in the fight, for the ones holding hope in the dead of the night. I stand for the ones still daring the dream, for the truth that survives in the land of the seen. It's earned, not entitled, it's forged in the land. I'm proud to be more than just born in this land. I stand for this, I stand as an American.
It's the fire in the eyes of a kid with a plan. It's the grit in the soul of a working class hand. It's the courage to speak when it costs you the most. It's the freedom to stand when you're standing alone. We've been broken and bled, but we rise and restore. We've built back with love and demanded no more. It's the faith that we carry from border to bay, that no voice gets erased and no dream fades away. We're the stories too strong to dismiss, the anthem that echoes in moments like this. I stand for this, the dream that won't die, for the tears in the eyes when that flag rides high, for the farmer, the teacher, the hearts that defend, for the start of the fight and the peace in the end. I stand for the fire that never goes cold, for the stars and the stripes and the stories they hold. It's not just a right, it's a call and we bring. I stand for the song that we're still gonna sing. I stand for this, I stand as an American. Not because we're perfect, because we keep going. Not for what's behind us, but for who's coming next. That's who we are, that's what we do. I stand for this with my hand on my
heart for the heroes who gave us this head start, for the courage, the climb, the weight, and the cost, for the ones who remember what too many lost. I stand for the kids still learning to see that freedom lives best when it lives in the we. It's not just a place, it's a soul and a flame. I stand for the promise behind every name. I stand for this. I stand as an American.
Oh,
There we go. All right. Sorry about that, Chuck.
that was my fault. I turned the mic off. So anyways, going back, what I was saying was, first of all, welcome to the show, Team USA. It's an honor to have you all here, and it's an honor to share the pride and the responsibility of being on Team USA and representing, your nation and your community on an international level. So let's talk legacy, let's talk passion and purpose, and let's talk about what it really means to fish for something bigger than yourself. The first question I have is for the coach. Jason, I believe you're still in here. Yeah. How did this opportunity all come together?
Yeah, so Chuck, real quick before we jump into that, if you don't mind, I'd like to use this platform to officially invite Grace, Adrius, Scotty, Jackson, Zach, Braden, Caleb, and Nate to South Africa for the second tri-national, event to South Africa. So congratulations, guys. I told you last year that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, now it's twice in a lifetime. So congrats, everyone.
Congratulations, guys. That is incredible news.
So how it all came about, Mike McNett, who is the director of Team USA Ice Fishing for many, many years. I met him about 17 years ago through work, and we stayed in touch. He has a passion, an addiction for fishing, quite like myself. So him and I hit it off very quickly, and we stayed in touch over the years. He followed my son's success, tournament trail, him and his partner, Adrius, and he reached out and asked if I wanted to have lunch. Not really knowing what, the lunch was about. I just figured it was just to catch up because we haven't caught up in a few years. So the first half hour was just catching up, and then he dropped the question. He said, what do you think about your son and his partner, Adrius, representing Team USA in Zimbabwe, Africa? And I paused, almost fell off my chair. And after the shock went away, I said, I know that they would be interested, and they're in. I'll answer for them. And he said, I'll take it a step further. And he said, I know that you are involved in a tournament trail, arguably one of the best tournament trails in the country, Illinois Bass Nation. And he said, would you be honored to coach the team? And without second guess. I said absolutely, knowing again that we have some heavy sticks in Illinois and it shouldn't be an issue, forming that team. But saying that and then actually creating the team is a whole nother thing, right? It's I didn't think about, hey, yes, these parents know who I am for the most part, but they don't know who I am, right? I'm asking if their kid cannot go to Arizona to fish, a tournament trail or a tournament. They're going around the world to fish, right? So, and this is the 8 that we have that's going to be competing this year. We need to round it out with 5 more.
So a little bit into the show, we'll get into how the youth anglers can get into qualifying and becoming a member of Team USA as well. It is just a night of technical difficulties for me, guys. I apologize for that. So the next question is for Clint, and I believe did we get Clint's microphone working? Yeah,
I'm sure it's working.
Perfect. So Clint, what inspired you to bring youth from Zimbabwe into the world stage?
Yeah, Chuck, look, youth's always been a bit of a passion for us, particularly for myself from my Major League Fishing franchise, which I own here in Zim. We've always competed against South Africa, and the dream for the country's always been to be able to fish against the USA at some point. After all, bass come from there. We introduced bass into this country about 45 years ago. So the deal really was that we wanted to do it. And again, through Mike McNett, his friendship with me really is what made this possible. So Mike and I branded the idea around, I think, while we were looking at elephants in Gonorrhoea National Park here. And we made a decision that we were going to try and make it happen. Through the FIPS international stage, they then met with the Zimbabwe National Bass Federation president as well as the South African Bass Federation president and made it happen. So, yeah, really honored to be able to do it. For Zim, it's a bit of a different story. Guys are traditionally a lot more disadvantaged. Our fishing waters are a lot different. Average income in the country probably is less than $5 a day per person. So there's a whole lot of factors that surround what happens in Zim. So, to get out on the stage and be able to compete amongst the best is really incredible to see.
Yeah, I agree. That's, it looked like a beautiful country. One of these days I have to come visit. You have to put me on.
Anytime.
I'll catch some bass, but maybe we'll fish for something else. So the next question is for the members of Team USA, and whoever would like to go first. I guess we should start with the team captain with this question, and we'll make sure that we get everybody's answer. But what I want to know is, what did it feel like for each of you to represent Team USA? And what was the biggest personal takeaway from the trip? So we'll start with the captain's Nate, right?
No.
Who's the captain? All right. So anyways, let's go ahead. We'll just start with Caleb Moore.
It really meant the world to me. It was one of my dreams to perform on that type of stage and with different countries and just represent red, white, and blue. My biggest takeaway from the tournament would probably just be the camaraderie with all the other countries. Just getting to know them and like how different their country is from mine.
Oh, there we go. And it was it Jackson that was the, I don't know why my notes are wrong. But anyways, let's just go ahead and move down the line. Grace, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so it honestly didn't feel real at first, and it still doesn't. It's crazy that we went to literally Africa. Like, that doesn't feel real. But putting on that USA jersey, it meant everything to me, being able to represent this country. And it really made me grateful for the opportunities that we have here and the freedoms. And the whole experience was just great. My greatest takeaway was probably gratitude, just being grateful for what we have here. And it made me a better angler and a better person altogether.
That's pretty awesome. Dang it. My name's popped off the screen. There we go. Jackson. Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I guess I muted myself again. From an early age, dream of mine to be able to compete for Team USA. My in 2000, it was 2006. They went to Spain, and then didn't really get back up until 2017. I got to see him on that stage for years of my life. The opportunity this year, the youth team, it meant the. I mean, they're better than be able to represent as the top of the top and be able to show what you can achieve in the sport.
Sorry, Jackson. I only caught about half of that. Do you have Wi-Fi there? Are you able to connect to Wi-Fi?
Hotel Wi-Fi.
Oh, you're already on it. I've been there. Go ahead. Can you just repeat what you said? It all broke out.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I've wanted to be on Team USA. Got the stories of my dad when he was younger being on Team USA when they went to Spain, and they didn't get to go for a few years, and then 2007 they got to South Africa. And it was amazing being able to see last year getting the opportunity to be able to me. I've wanted to be able to fish internationally alongside country. It was my first time being out of the country. It was so amazing to be able to represent the country and the world in an international fishing tournament. So I'm completely honored and to go.
Awesome. I caught most of that. I'm sorry. We'll try to get that worked out, and we'll come back to you and make sure we get you an opportunity to talk about that. Yeah, when I went to last month, I had an expo in Niagara Falls, and of course I was down there on Thursday, and I couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work good enough to even do the podcast. So I totally understand. Scott, how about you?
How you doing? I mean, I still really can't believe it happened. I mean, I'm going to be forever grateful to be able to represent Team USA. I mean, like, just from the moment I got there, it was unreal. Like, being able to fish in another country has always been a dream of mine, but being able to represent for our country was just unreal. So that was really cool. And just meeting all the new people and, like, creating lifelong friends from other teams, not just Team USA, but meeting all the South African kids and the Zimbabwe kids was just unbelievable.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Brayden?
So yeah, the whole trip, I mean, it's kind of a blur. So much happened in such a short amount of time. It was like unbelievable. The flight, how long it took to get there. And then, I mean, meeting everyone was also a ton of fun. So, I mean, the takeaway that I got from it is to be grateful for everything that we have here. I mean, from going down the streets in Harare, like, it's just a completely different place. So just got to be grateful what we have for here in the U.S.
Absolutely. That's great advice. How about you, Zach?
Man, there was so many amazing things about this trip. I mean, just for being a kid from Illinois to being able to represent the U.S., it's crazy for me. I mean, I never would have thought I'd been able to do it, but it's just such a surreal experience that we got to go on. And yeah, my biggest takeaway was probably getting to meet everyone and just like seeing how they fish, them getting to teach us all their stuff and just putting on a great show for us.
Nate, how about you?
I mean, the same as everyone else, really. I mean, it's just a dream come true. I mean, tournament fishing, it's what I love most. I do it every single weekend, every time I can, and being able to wear our flag on my back while doing it is really just a dream come true. And I would say my biggest takeaway was learning all of the techniques in the completely just drastically different fishing style that they have out there.
I love the flag, by the way. Oh, you got
you.
2 of them there. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
And who else do we have?
I still got to go.
Go ahead.
Adding on to what everybody else said, the experience was insane. I mean, I still remember when Coach Uldrych came up to me and Nate, and he was like, "Yeah, we're going to Zimbabwe." I mean, I thought he was like messing with us or something. I was like, "What are you even talking about?" But like the second he explained it to me, I was like, "No way, this is real." Like, of course I want to go. Like, to be able to represent like the United States of America at like that stage with that many people watching us. And it was just like insane. It was really cool meeting everyone that we went with, like really getting to know them and staying with them. And just like a huge takeaway for me was like the conditions that the people from Africa fish in. Cause like we'll have like hot days of fishing, but like we weren't even in like the dead of it. And it was like unbearable conditions for fishing. It's like nothing you could even imagine here in the US.
What was the average temperatures you were fishing in?
I think the averages was like 80s to 90, but it wasn't the temperatures that was hot. The UV index, I think, got up to like 14, 15, 16. And it'll be like 8:30 in the morning. You just started fishing and you'll be burning up even when the sun's not up.
Oh, yeah. What do you guys do to keep yourself protected from the sun? Because I know, like, for example, in Texas, you know, the sun is way more intense than all the way up here north in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah. All of the days we had to make sure we covered up. I mean, a lot of us, we wore pants, definitely long sleeves, gaiters on our necks, gloves. I mean, shoes, anything you can cover, you covered. Because, I mean, more than half an hour out in that sun and you were burnt to a crisp.
Oh, yeah. And nobody wants any skin cancer or severe sunburn.
Definitely not.
That's why I always have, well, I mean, the USA tournament jerseys are long sleeve anyways, but I always have long sleeve shirts out there. And I kayak fish, so my legs and my knees are always exposed. So I'm always wearing like zip off fishing pants just to stay protected. And then, you know, hands or gloves on your hand. So what we're going to do is we'll go through these questions, and I guess like the first 2 people that are interested in answering, we'll just give them a chance. I wish we could kind of go through all of them, but I went a little bit overboard and I have a ton of questions. So I just want to kind of make sure we get through them all. So if you're good with that, the first question that I have is, what surprised you the most about Africa, fishing and the cultural differences? And whoever's interested, just raise your hand and Phil will unmute you. Go ahead, Caleb.
Just like the thing that most surprised me, like driving right to the lake, is how different the roads are and how different the economy is there. Like Clint said, the average income is $5 a day, and just how to think how much we get a day here in America and how fortunate we have for all the opportunities we have. The fishing was just different. We did one thing all day was punching grass with 1 ounce weights and creature baits and big flipping hooks, and all day long getting burnt to a crisp by the sun.
What was the average depth you were fishing?
I know a lot of us are catching fish in 10-foot brainweed.
Okay.
Which is a type of weed there they have out in Zimbabwe.
So interesting fact, and then we'll go on to the second person. When I went to Portugal in 2022, the lake we were fishing, it was the last untouched river in the world before they dammed it up 10 years prior. And there wasn't any information on it, you know, so we pretty much went in there blind. I heard it was deep water. I'm thinking 50 to 80 foot. We get there and it's 360 foot, I believe, or 320 foot. And most of the bass were about 80 foot deep. usually hugging the bases of these trees because visibility was like 35 foot. So it was just a crazy situation, you know, and something that you have to adapt to. So who wants to go next? Good. Nate.
I would say something that really surprised me the most, and what I was kind of thinking about our whole flight there, is how easily we were able to get along with all the other team members of both South Africa and Zimbabwe. I mean, we just stepped off of the bus after being on a 23-hour flight and a 5-hour bus ride on these terrible dirt roads, and we step off, and Zimbabwe's entire team was all lined up there. We stepped off the bus. Each of them introduced them to us, and I mean, it was like I'm talking to a kid from down the block. We just got along, and everything clicked, and it was really cool being able to talk to them and learn from all their experiences out there.
Yeah, that was my same experience the first time I went to an international tournament. You know, it's less about the fish and less about the tournament and more about just sharing your passion and you know, making sure, especially if you're the host country, you want to make sure that everybody visiting is having a great time, right?
Yeah, definitely. Just sharing our love for fishing, and I mean, all of our experiences. It was a really cool thing being able to do that.
Oh yeah. So the next question is, what was your favorite off the water memory? Go ahead, Idris.
My favorite off the water memory by far was the last day we went to the safari, and it was hot, and we all got in this lake, and we all went swimming in this lake. And in the back of my mind, I was like, there's crocodiles in Zimbabwe, right? And we're all just swimming out here in this lake with the South African kids, and we're just swimming across the lake. We're having a good time. We're like not even that far off the bank. We can't even feel the bottom under our feet. It was pretty cool just swimming around on a hot day.
Yeah, that was my first thought when you said that was crocodiles. Anybody else want to go ahead, Jack? Zach?
So mine was probably the last night we got to stay in a boys' school with everyone. So that night we just kind of all got to hang out and just have a good time our last night there. So then we also got to go fish. Oh, sorry.
Good.
We also got to go fish this pond that was on like the boys' school's like property. And one of our other buddies, I think he broke his PB there. They were catching them on frogs. It was pretty cool.
What was the lodging like? Did they put everybody, all the teams in like one place, or were you kind of separated? Like, for example, when I went to Portugal, we basically had like this big kind of, I call it a resort, but price wise, it's more like a budget hotel compared to our standards. But the place was incredible. But I think all but one of the teams stayed there. So at the end of the day, we'd all meet down, you know, in the mesh hall and have some food and just talk fishing and stuff like that. But I've been to you know, other tournaments where everybody kind of stays at different locations, so there's really no centralized place to kind of hang out afterwards. Go ahead, Nate. Oh, hold on, you're muted. Phil. There we go.
We good?
Yep.
All right. So the resort we stayed at, it had a bunch of little, almost like dorms, and there would be 8 to 10 bedrooms with a couple beds in each of them, and each team had their own dorm. So we'd split up, like 2 guys do dorm, but we'd be able to fit all of our Team USA in one like hall. And so there'd be the USA's dorm, the Zimbabwe dorm, South Africa. And then we'd go fish out our tournament or practice or whatever day it was. And then later on, we'd all meet up at the dining hall that was in the middle of our resort, and just be able to talk about our day and really just talk with all the other kids.
That's pretty awesome. You know, that's the best situation in my opinion, because, you know, it gives you that opportunity to bond those relationships off the water, right? I know for the Hobie Worlds event, it's actually a requirement that everybody stays in one location, and they even go a little bit further where they'll group you. They'll kind of room you with somebody from a totally different team, from, you know, a totally different country, so that you can just have that time to get to know each other and share, you know, the cultures and stuff.
Yeah, so that's how our first 2 days of competition went. So the first day of competition, we were paired up with another member on South Africa's team, and we had to compete against them while being in the same boat. And as well as the second day, we were with Zimbabwe, and the same exact thing went on, where we were really just able to talk with them and bond with them and really just create memories that, I mean, we're never going to forget those kids for the rest of our lives.
And that's a fun competition, you know. That's like your best friend being in the boat where you're trying to outfish each other.
Yeah, for sure.
So next question, how did this experience bond you together as a team? Go ahead, Jackson, and then we'll go to Grady.
I'll answer this one. I didn't know any of these kids before we get to go. I got invited to go on the trip in Zimbabwe. I'm the only one that's not from Illinois, and it was really cool how quickly we bonded together. I met most people at the airport the morning that we flew out. I met Adrius the night before. I went out and he let me stay at his house. Went out to dinner. Really cool out there in Chicago. But I can't believe how quickly we got together with each other and bonded, because now I feel like I can go fishing with each and every one of them and have a good time, and it's not going to be just some other person I met. These are best friends I've made for life.
Absolutely. You know, it becomes an angling family. Grace, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so being the only girl, I wasn't sure what to expect. I was a little bit nervous at first, but once we got on the plane and sitting by everyone was so welcoming to me. Like this team and Zimbabwe, no one treated me any differently. And I knew these guys beforehand, but I didn't know them personally. And this trip really got us to know each other and get along. And now we made lifelong friends. So it was a good experience.
That's pretty awesome. And I also want to say congratulations for, you know, being the first and only woman on the youth team.
Thank you.
And you know, it's one of those things. I'm a girl dad. My she'll be 19 this year. So, but it's so awesome to see the sport evolve to the point where, you know, it's not just focused on the men's side of things. You know, there's some girls out there that'll kick all our butts, you know, and the community just, we support it and we promote it. And, you know, it's like you said, just kind of like a family.
It's definitely growing for sure.
What was the funniest or most unforgettable team moment? Go ahead, Nate.
I would say by far the funniest moment for me was, so I'm gonna explain. Our flights went from Midway, Chicago, and our first stop was in Ethiopia. And so we're walking through this airport to try and get to our airplane, and we have to go through the security, and they're asking for our passports and our boarding passes and whatnot. And I reach into my bag and I grab my boarding pass, but not my passport. And I start freaking out. I start tearing through my bag, trying to find it. I'm getting all hot and sweaty. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a country that like no one speaks English, and I couldn't go anywhere. So I go up to Jackson, and he goes, wait, you don't have your passport? What do you mean you don't have your passport? Yeah, you do. It's got to be in your bag. And my dad, Coach Uldrych, he comes running up to us, and he goes, it's got to be in the plane then if it's not in your bag. So we run through this packed airport. It had to have been at least a 2-mile run back to our gate. And after 30 minutes of running through it, we finally get to the gate. And I walk onto this plane and I'm looking for it. I found my seat and it's not there, nowhere to be found. And everyone by that point, all the workers, they're cleaning up the plane. I'm asking for everyone. I'm like, passport. I'm trying to explain to them that I lost it. And at the very front of the plane, a worker goes and held it up. And that was the biggest moment of relief of my life. I ran up to that dude and I gave him the biggest bear hug. And we made it back to the plane in time and everything worked out.
That's pretty awesome, and it's also a very important lesson. When I went to Portugal, it was my first international trip. So fortunately, one of my friends instructed me on the dangers of that. You get to a totally different country that nobody speaks your language. You don't have your passport, your identification. You're kind of in a bad spot, So one recommendation always is make sure you have contact information for the embassy and stuff like that. So worst case scenario, if something does happen, you can at least get some support. But I'd love to see if there was what lessons you've reflected on and pulled out of that to prepare for next time.
I mean, really just keeping that thing secure, everything that's important to us. That's a lesson I'm never going to forget. That I think that was the closest having a heart attack me and my dad have ever had.
Absolutely. And definitely keep it somewhere you can see because, certain places, people are pretty smooth. And the touristy places, you're going to have maybe some unmentionable people that, they're doing bad things and you don't even know it. And they took your passport and everything else. 10 hours later, you go to use it and it's already gone. Right. So, keep it in your front pocket or a fanny pack zipped up or somewhere that no matter what, because that's a lifeline as soon as you leave this country.
Yep. That could have been a really bad situation there.
Anybody else have any funny or unforgettable moments? No. All right. So next question we have is this one's actually for Jason or Clint. I know, is Jason still here? I think he had to step out for a call. Clint, so what changes did you witness as an outsider with these anglers? There's Jason. How about you, Jason? Go ahead.
So kind of to piggyback on top of what Grace mentioned, our team competes a lot differently than Team Zim and Team South Africa. They're used to competing as one unit, right? Where everyone that's on this podcast and our entire tournament trail, we fished against each other, right? So this is the first opportunity that these anglers had to actually fish as a team. And there's a pretty big learning curve that comes with that. To watch them adjust on a daily basis, call it day 1, day 2, and then finally day 3, we tied for first for the most amount of fish that were caught that day. That, in my opinion, was a tremendous accomplishment for our team and something that we're going to use going into this next trip to South Africa. So it was extremely impressive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did we lose Clint?
Might have. I don't see him.
That's all right. So if there was anything that you can do differently for next year in preparation, and before we get started, just keep in mind you don't know who is watching, and at the end of the day, it is a world championship, right? So don't give any secrets to the world until afterwards. It's okay to help them on the field, though. I got my butt kicked in Portugal. I struggled like hell, didn't have the right electronics and everything. And, all the other teams, they were always giving me tips and supporting me along the way. But you don't want to give away your magic months before, right? And who wants to go first? How about Braden?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Kind of got lost there for a minute. So, man, I don't even know where to start with this. This is something new. What was the question? I lost track. What was the question again?
Are there any things, and it doesn't even have to be on the water, on and off the water, are there any things that you learned from this trip that you'll be adjusting or preparing for better for the next trip?
Oh yeah, from this trip, I learned like a ton of things that you would not learn in the state of Illinois. I mean, fishing the clean water with the grass that's 10 to 15 foot deep. I mean, it's nothing like fishing in Illinois. So I'm definitely like gonna try like to do like keep in mind how to change your technique and what you're doing as the days move on, which I know is something I struggled with in nationals last year at the Bassmaster high school national level. So, I mean, just learning how to change throughout the days to a new environment is something that I got to keep in mind.
That's a great point. Go ahead.
I like to add on to what he was saying. When we went out to Africa, I had a game plan that I drew up, and this back home in Arkansas, I was going to frog in the mornings, throw top water, and then I was going to flip or scope, and that's not what ended up happening. In the morning, it was so hot, the grass was so hot, those fish weren't wanting to blow up. They'd blow up when a few clouds went over, which was really cool. Practice, they blew up all day long, but tournament-wise, totally different game plan. So I had to stick to the conditions and flip all day long. I took a 1 3/4 ounce weight, a weight that you can't find very often, and just picked it up and didn't put it in. And probably caught 8%, which most there for a while. But it was hard for me to be able to get one of those big bites. And if I was to read, I think I would look for the changes in grass. Anywhere there was a transition in the grass where it went from brainweed to I forget, it's more like a hyacinth that we have here. Anytime you saw a change in that, that's where the bigger fish lived. I didn't realize it. Looking back, it's super obvious. I go home and I can flip the edge of the grass whenever it changes, I catch fish. But it was super cool being able to learn just how to pick apart an area and get the maximum amount of bites in the spot.
That's pretty awesome. You know, that's the lessons that I really get excited about, you know, is the angler's wisdom. So the next question is, what would you tell a young angler with this dream? Go ahead, Caleb.
I would just tell them to keep what you're doing. You obviously love the sport enough to go to the national level. Just keep at it with a positive mental attitude and keep learning every day like you do when you go out fishing, and just keep it in mind. It's always there in the back of your mind. I was once that kid dreaming just to go on this trip like this.
I agree. You know, there's a quote that I use fairly often. The best way to predict the future is to create it. You know, it's one of those things where you just have to make a decision. This is what I'm going to do, and there's nothing that's going to stop me, and you'll find yourself there. You know, there's no easy button. It's just hard work and persistence and grit. And if you don't stop, the outcome will always be what you want. Anybody else want to add? Go ahead, Zach.
So, like, I think the biggest thing is time on the water. So if you have the ability to do it, just fish as much as you can. Like the COVID year, I was able to fish almost every day up at our lake cabin learning. And that just taught me so much. If you can spend a ton of time on the water, do it. And if you're able to fish tournaments, get into them as young as you can and get that experience as well.
100%. And you can also go to the U.S. Angling website, and I think there's an application on there to reach out and try to join the team, try to qualify. And there's a lot of other teams too. There's kayak fishing team, street fishing, ladies fly fishing, feeder, you know, like there's a long list. So definitely go over to usangling.com and check that out. And, you know, while we're talking about that, when you fish on an international level, it takes a lot of expense and a lot of money. And unfortunately, when you fish on an international level, it's generally on the angler's dime. And there's a lot of reason to that too. You got to think some of these sponsors, they want to support things, but if it's not mutually beneficial for them, what's the reason they're going to support a program that's on the other side of the world where none of their customers are, right? So a lot of the support for these anglers comes from the community, from their friends, their supporters, and people that just, they want to see the youth succeed and the world anglers succeed and represent the country. So if you want to help out, if you want to contribute, or if you want to just get some cool swag like the USA Bass hat or the USA Kayak Fishing hat or any of that, definitely head over to usangling.com, and everything is there, really easy for you to use. Sorry about that. I just kind of skipped 3 of my questions because I just answered them. So Clint, did we ever get Clint back? I don't think so. Jason, oh, there he is. You've been to the States, like I said, we met in Tennessee. What differences would you say, or you feel that should be highlighted between fishing in the USA, in a place like Tennessee versus fishing on the other side of the world in Zimbabwe? I know they're basically the same species, but is there any key differences that you think is purely geographical?
No, there's definitely geographical differences. I think here in Africa, you got to realize we've got a hungry population, a very unruly state of law. So things like netting, it's all over the place here. We've got gill nets. The guys put them out in the water all the time. As a result, we don't really have the bait fish that you guys have got in the States. So our fish tend to relate more to structure. They tend not to be as easy to scope, although there are fish definitely moving around, and we're slowly getting into the scoping attitudes. But I think one of the biggest things I've learned when I fish in the States is I actually use the bait fish as structure, where we just don't get that here. So there's a lot of key differences. Yes, they're predatory fish. They're going to ambush prey, whatever you do. But at the end of the day, like Jackson was saying, time on the water, that sort of thing is so important. So for me, yes, 7 years I've been backwards and forwards to the States. I bring high school kids to high school world championships every year. We move around, obviously, depending on where TBF and SAF host those tournaments. And then we fish the MLF Toyota series as well, based on wherever they are. And it's so different. We come out, we try and learn, but we get our asses handed to us time and time again. But yeah, we're getting better. And I think it's more about the relationships. It's more about the friendships. Been so fortunate. I've got sponsors like Frog Togs and guys like that in the States. Those sort of guys are just incredible. Amzim Marine down in Florida. People I haven't even met. And just from them seeing us and seeing that we're prepared to put ourselves out there, put ourselves on the international stage, those guys have come through and actually are trying to help us. So very proud to represent Zimbabwe and do what we need.
That's pretty awesome. And what you said about the lack of bait fish out there and having those fish clinging to structure, I immediately, red lights are going off in my head. And I went back to Portugal where there was like no bait fish. I mean, I'm walking along the shore and there's no, you're not seeing any bluegill or any minnows or anything like that. It was very limited. And of course the fish were really tight to the structure. But I didn't really pick up on the fact that it was because of the bait fish situation. So that's interesting. Everybody take note of that. Did we ever get Jason back? No. Oh, there he is. So Jason, what is your vision for the 2025 Team USA trip back to South Africa?
So this question, Chuck, is pretty simple. Our vision is gold. That's our vision. We we learned in a hurry in Zim. I think that we know what to expect going to South Africa, especially from a team perspective, competing as a team. We learned some of the tricks of the trade. Having active and usable comms, being able to communicate was a huge plus for us. So that's our vision. We're going to create and round out, I should say, our team for 2025, and really be going there with one notion, and that's gold.
Yeah, gold's always good. Trophies are always good. The most important thing to remember is you earn your trophies in practice. You just pick them up on tournament day.
That's right.
Keep that in mind. And the next question is for the anglers. So off the water, are there anything or any ways that you want to step up your presence in the World Championship or make more of a difference in the lives of everybody that participates? And I'll kind of elaborate on that a little bit. When I went to Portugal, I got my butt kicked. I didn't have live scope. It was sitting on my porch. It arrived after the plane left. But I got my butt kicked at the end of the tournament. I was awarded the White Card Award, which is a European fair play movement. And it's mainly in soccer. I don't think it's ever been awarded outside of the sport of soccer. But, there was some situations, like, for example, practice of day 2, 2 of the Romanian anglers, their kayaks were having issues. They couldn't get on the water. Well, this is what I do for a living. I guide and I rig up kayaks. So I go back in and I'm going to, I'll figure out how to get them on the water. It didn't matter whether it was a practice day or a tournament day. They have the same opportunity as I do. They're representing their country. I don't want them to lose that opportunity, right? So I went in and fixed up their kayaks, got them at least on the water, kind of in limp mode. The rudder cable broke, so it only turned one way. But, along the way, just picked up a bunch of trash and just really had a huge impact on the fellow anglers. And then 2023, when I met Clint, actually, it was 2023. They didn't even know I was coming. I was just going down to support my guys, take some kayaks, and I just, did what I do and just trying to make sure that everybody is having the best time of their life, right? Because we're all a family together. And at the end of that tournament, U.S. Angling presented me with the Hero Award, which was pretty incredible. But, I wasn't the hero there. There was a lot of heroes in that room. I was just doing my part to push the sport and the future forward. So if you've thought about anything like that, not obviously getting awards or anything like that, but like, is there something that maybe you noticed or something that you thought, hey, next time I go, I want to do this because it's going to make that person feel special or the participants feel special? For example, like what the audience doesn't know is at the end of all these tournaments during the award ceremony, everybody exchanges gifts and they also exchange jerseys. Just a quick tip. If you only have 2 jerseys, don't take both and think you're not going to give one away because you want to take it home. You will come back with none. So leave one home or leave one in the hotel room. But go ahead, Nate.
I would say one thing that really surprised me and shocked me is the limited availability of fishing tackle that these kids are getting in Zimbabwe and South Africa. Being that a lot of our fishing tackle is either made in the US or in Asia or China, they don't really have a lot of access to all of the things that we have. Like it was really shocking to me, the fishing capabilities that these kids have and how good they are, with the limited access they have to our resources and all of like the lures and tackles. So going into next year, I'm definitely going to be bringing with me a buttload of tackle to give out to all these kids.
That's pretty awesome. It's stuff like that. I'm sure that'll change their lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else want to add? And it's okay, you don't have to. All right, so after 2025, I know it's in South Africa. Does it just kind of bounce between like South Africa, Zimbabwe, and then does it come to the States, or how does that work? Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, so 2025 South Africa, and then we'll round it out here in the U.S. next year.
Nice. In 2026, do we have a location picked out for that?
Not yet. We're working on it.
Cool. That's pretty awesome. Definitely let me know when you guys figure it out. Maybe if it's not, on the other side of the nation and I'm able to make it, I'll come down and support you guys.
Will do.
All right. So I have a few rapid fire questions. I just realized I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this with so many people. So if you guys want, we'll just have fun with it. You can all unmute your microphone, and the first person that thinks of an answer can shout it out, and we'll just kind of roll with that. So first rapid fire question is biggest fish ever?
Goliath grouper.
Boat snack of choice?
Beef
That's a good one.
Bull tongue.
That tops it, I think.
Tops beef. It's hard to top that.
Yeah, that stuff was good.
Yeah.
Snacks are more important than the fishing tackle.
Sometimes.
What about a hype song before launch to get you all pumped up?
Kickstart my heart.
National anthem.
Oh, you can't beat the national anthem. That's it right there.
I agree. Speaking of that, does anybody want to share their feelings of what it felt for you to stand on the stage in front of your peers, anglers from across the world, and represent your country while the national anthem was playing?
I would say it was pretty cool. It felt like an honor. Like I felt like pride within my heart just being up there listening to our anthem, and everyone else, all the other countries hearing our anthem. It was a pretty cool thing. And before the first boat launch of the tournament for takeoff day, we all actually lined up and sang our Pledge of Allegiance prior to going onto our boats. And all the other kids were like, why don't we have a battle song? I want one. That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Anybody else want to add to that? I know for me it was pretty incredible. Never in a million years did I ever imagine that I would be in that type of situation, nor did I think it was even a thing. But life gives you opportunities to grow and do certain things, and if you work hard enough and you seize them and you do the right things in life, it'll basically grow into something beyond your wildest dreams. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap this one up, unless anybody else does anybody else have anything to add? Feel free. You can add anything that you want. If there's, companies that you work with, sponsors, supporters, you want to thank anybody, family,
My biggest
thing, I want to thank you for having us. It's been an absolute honor. So we appreciate that. I want to thank Shimano, one of our marquee sponsors, along with United Healthcare, Angler's Outlet, as well as Pinnacle Dermatology. Without those sponsors, it would have been tough for us to make this happen.
Go ahead.
I know he's not on here, but our coach Mike McNett, I'd like to thank him more than anything. He's the one who really came up with the idea of all this, and it really was just a dream come true for all of us.
Yeah, I got to I worked with Mike a little bit, for the championships, and then I got to meet him in person and work together very closely with him in Tennessee. And got to say, guy's an incredible guy, and he's doing everything for the right reasons. Go ahead, Adris.
I want to thank all of our parents for making this happen, letting us go, and just believing in us. I want to thank God for getting us there and back safely. Dubach Electrical, Carl Sandburg High School, just all the sponsors that everyone's listed so far. Just huge help, helping us out financially, and just lures and rods and whatever they could. So thanks a lot.
Grace?
Yeah, so quickly, guys, sorry, 2 seconds. I know how difficult it is to travel. I've done this countless times, carrying those rod tubes through airports, traveling with tackle itself is an absolute nightmare. So I want to thank all of you guys. You made the effort to do this. Jason, Mike, particularly putting this together. Jackson, my mate, I love you, Dad. I'm glad you made the team, and I'm glad you were selected as the captain. Very proud of you guys, and I need you to realize what a big achievement this was. That national stage is something that is so big, and some of you are going to get to experience it again next year. But take those opportunities with both hands and then spread the news. Make sure people realize fishing is actually something that can be a career. For you guys in the States particularly. For us here in Zimbabwe, we've got to work. But I've got one kid on scholarship at Simpson University in Reading, done because of what I do, taking guys to national fishing stages. So be proud, stand up, put your hands together and say, you guys did it. Well done.
Yep, absolutely. And like he said, this is kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity, and then getting a chance to attend other ones in the future, that's something pretty incredible. I will say one thing. When I came back from Portugal, the biggest thing in my mind was, I think I want to get as many people as I can that opportunity to experience that, because I know how it made me feel, and just thinking about other people getting that opportunity and getting to experience that magic. I think that's incredible, so that's really kind of transitioned my my mission along the way after the World Championships. So Grace, I think you're up.
Yeah, I want to thank Jason for giving us all a chance, and Coach Mike and Clint for putting on a great event and being so welcoming and kind to us. And I want to thank you for having us on here today.
Thank you. The pictures moved around, so there we go. Braden.
So I want to thank you for having us on here also. I want to thank my dad for going and my grandpa. I think I was the only one that took my grandpa with me, so I'm glad that he got to experience that going to a different country. But just a big thanks to everyone on the team for just being nice and friendly and welcoming, and it was nice to get to know everyone.
Jackson, go ahead.
I want to give a huge thanks to everybody for including me this year. It was super cool. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get the opportunity to. I didn't know about it until just a couple months till. But it was really cool to be able to be part of it. I want to thank Coach. I want to thank Mike. I want to thank everybody, Clint. I want to thank everybody. They were always so nice to me. It was such a good experience, and I feel like we're family now.
Caleb?
I want to thank you for having us on here, all my coaches, Coach Uldrych, Coach McNett, and good Lord up above for keeping us safe on the way there and way back, all my sponsors, my parents.
And did we miss anybody, Phil? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No.
Yes, we did.
One more. Sorry. I'd just like to thank you one more time for having us on here and sharing our story. It really helps us out a lot. And I'd like to thank our sponsors and everyone who made it possible for us. I'd like to thank you five. I'm really excited to keep competing with you guys. It's going to be a great time. And I'm really glad I met you guys and really welcoming me on the team. And I think we're going to make a good impact next year.
Go ahead, Zach.
So I want to thank you first for having us all out here. I want to thank all the parents for taking time off work and letting us do this amazing opportunity. And then I also want to thank Mr. Jason because he gave us the invite back for next year. So I'm really excited.
And I guess I'll go since we're thanking everybody. I want to thank, first of all, each and every one of you guys for being here, and girls. I want to thank Jason and Clint for putting everything together and, giving the young anglers this kind of opportunity. This is the type of stuff that changes people's lives forever. And, it's not just that person. There's a saying, they say that one person can't change the world, but that's not true. One person can actually influence enough people to truly create change in the world. So for me personally, I always try to, be the change that I want to see in the world. So I just want to thank you for giving me that opportunity to have all of you on. And I especially want to thank Philly D, the guy in the back, because without him, I don't think I would have been able to pull this off. It's not easy just controlling everything and just making everything work flawless. But it's a lesson in disguise, right? Without challenges, we can't learn, we can't grow, and we can't identify the things that we don't know moving forward that we need to know, right? So just a little bit of wisdom for you guys. Of course, as always, if you guys need anything, obviously, like in the world today, you guys are all underage. Unless your parents present, I don't think it's a good idea to call direct. But if you reach out to Coach, Jason or Clint or anything like that, and reach out to me, anything you guys need, just ask. I got your back. And then once you're 18, not that I worry about that kind of stuff, but some people do. But once you're 18, by all means, save my number. Anytime you need anything, or if you're close to Lake Erie, Cleveland, Ohio, you want to go out on Lake Erie and catch walleye or smallmouth or anything like that, I'm always here for you. At the end of the day, we're all Team USA. And secondly, we're anglers, and that's what we do, right? We support each other. So with that being said, Clint, you need to come over here, man. We got some monster smallies. What was it? 2 years ago, I believe the record was broke. It was almost 11 pounds. So I can't see your face, but I'm sure there's a big. So I do have one final question before we get out of here. This question's going to be towards Clint and Jason. I'm sure that all of the anglers have great insights as well. I just don't want to hold you guys up any longer. And it's a very deep question. And, if you guys want to, feel free to write down your answer, shoot it over, and I can put it out there later. I definitely want to hear if you have anything on this. So, and of course my teleprompter is, oh, there it is. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So this is the standard angler's wisdom question we ask at the end of each show. If you had to choose just one or two key pieces of angler's wisdom that you've received or learned over the course of your life, whether something you've learned through experience or a valuable lesson passed down to you, what would they be, and why are they so important for other anglers to hear?
I can take that first, Clint. You know what? Something that was instilled in myself through my parents, my grandparents, who are all anglers, right? That's how I kind of gravitated towards the spot. I had a fishing pole in my hand before I could walk. Was don't take anything for granted in life, especially the opportunities that fishing has given us. It's amazing. I mean, think about what we're talking about here tonight. Fishing at a tournament level in Zimbabwe, Africa, and now South Africa. I mean, that's a God thing there, right? He's blessed myself, my family in so many different ways. To be able to represent Team USA as a coach and have these fantastic anglers, to round out our team is just, it's almost makes me speechless, right? So at the end of the day, do not take anything for granted because tomorrow it can be gone.
Amen to that. And I wanted to add to that too. In life, when you're in this situation, you want to always remember to be grateful, like you said, and not take it for granted. But you also want to just be calm. When things are going good, it's okay to get excited. Just be calm, right? Because things are going to be bad in a moment. So if you train yourself to just be calm when everything's, going insanely good, you can also be calm when everything's going insanely bad. And that might be the thing that just allows you to overcome that obstacle. Clint, you want to?
Chuck, yeah. I think never look down on anyone else. You don't know their situation. You don't know their shoes. You come out here to Africa and you'll see a guy literally standing neck deep in crocodile-infested water, and all he's trying to do is catch a fish to eat. So never look down on anyone. You just never know their circumstances and their situation. And the other one, pet peeve, don't hog the ramp.
I agree with both of those. The never look down on anyone and don't hold up the ramp. That's almost just as important. But we just want to remember everybody goes through struggles, right? We've all had challenges along the way, and we never know the true story. So always just try to be kind and empathetic and compassionate, because you never know when even a simple smile or acknowledging somebody could change their life or save their life. So this has been a pretty incredible show. Adrius, go ahead.
One thing I learned just from tournament angling is never give up and just keep casting to the last minute. Because if you're having a tough day, a rough day, and you feel like you're just not doing so good, things can change around literally so quickly, and they have for me and Nate in our tournaments. And it's just important to keep going to the last minute, because you really truly don't know what's gonna happen in the future for that day. And another thing is you gotta have lucky shoes or something lucky on you, because I swear it works. You gotta have something on you that's lucky, because it definitely works.
Well, my lucky items did not work, but I still felt a little better. I forget the maker. They were just cheap shoes, but they were red, white, and blue. They were perfect. And then I bought a gold iPhone. Before you achieve, you must believe, right? Obviously, we went out there. We got our butt kicked. I think we placed 4th. But
Chuck, I can't tell you how happy I am that this is being recorded right now, so that I can play Adrius's last comment about fish until the end and not wasting a second, because any one of those seconds could be a game changer, right? So now I can play that for him in the boat.
It's something that we don't always know, but it's a great lesson to learn, right? And Adrius, since you kicked that out, now I kind of feel like we have to get everybody's input. It just wouldn't be right if we didn't. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Nate, go ahead.
I would say, yeah, commenting on the luck portion of it. I got my lucky hat right here. That's why everyone's wearing a blue hat. I got my red one on. I had to bring it on the podcast for some good luck. And just like they were saying, you're always one cast away from that winning fish. Adrius and I, our state tournament, we had 5 minutes left, and I took one more cast. We had 4 fish, and we caught the winning fish. That's all it takes. You're always one cast away from that winning fish, that PB, and that's what keeps us going.
100%. Grace, you wanna say something?
Yeah, so I would say my best advice would just be don't let anyone get in your head. Everyone's gonna doubt you and everyone's gonna say bad things about you. It's just gonna happen. I would say just don't let that get into your head, because you can do what you put your mind to, and that can be anything. So just don't listen to what other people say that's negative. Just keep on your own route and believe in yourself.
I like to call that crabs in a bucket. Anytime you're being successful or doing something good, societal norm is just a crab in a bucket. So if you put one crab in a bucket, it's going to crawl out eventually. But if you put two crabs in a bucket, the first crab starts to crawl out. The second one grabs him and pulls him back in. Now the crab that grabbed him and pulled him back in, now he tries to crawl out, and the first one grabs him and pulls him back in. So in that scenario, they keep each other in the bucket, but they also do it in a pot of boiling water. So because they don't want the other one to get out of the bucket or out of the situation, they basically force each other to boil to death.
Right.
So don't be a crab in a bucket. How about you, Caleb?
For me, like, add on what all of them people say, like, okay, one more cast and don't let anyone get in your head. You have to have a positive mental attitude to do that. And that's for me, like, just keeping a positive mental attitude all day. Just don't let anyone get in your head. Keep fishing. It's not about you against someone else. It's about you against the fish. And when you come in that day, it's going to be like, who beat the fish best? And you all can just leave it out in the water after that.
100%, and sometimes we can even be our own worst enemies in that situation. I know I was pretty hard on myself in Portugal, expecting miracles, but we gotta remember that. And also, I want to share something with you that a good buddy of mine, Jeff Little, shared with me one time. All you got to do to get out of any situation or change your thought process or your emotions, your feelings, your mentality is just ask yourself, what's the next positive action? And just do that. It keeps your mind right, keeps you on the right direction. Scott, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'd just like to touch back on staying calm because, I'm a really competitive person and I kind of get on my head when I'm on the water, and I kind of scramble sometimes. And I think it's mostly important, especially on my main body of water on Lake Michigan. It's important to stay calm because sometimes you could scramble around and run 30 minutes away from the fish. It's a big body of water. So I think really staying calm and keeping a positive attitude is a key to success.
I agree. Who's next? Jackson.
I'd like to say my biggest thing when fishing tournaments is staying positive and praying. It's just something simple. When you're out there and you're struggling, ask God. He has all the answers for you. Fish so many tournaments that with a couple minutes to go, I don't have any other game plan. End up having to pray and think of something, clear my head. I fished a Hobie tournament a couple years ago on the kayak and at Lake Darnell, and with 30 minutes left on Tourney X, it said I was in third place. So I knew I needed to catch one more. I was out of fish. I prayed. I ended up thinking, had a game plan, went to the launch ramp that I launched at, threw a drop shot up there, caught a 16.5 incher, and ended up winning the tournament. So, it's just staying positive, staying confident, and praying, everything. Just make sure that you have good intentions and they'll come back to you.
100%. And also always trust your angler's wisdom. Don't second guess yourself in that situation, because you'll probably end up regretting it. Somebody else will catch your fish. And I think we have Braden next.
Yeah, so going off of what Jackson is saying about confidence and Scotty about staying calm, I definitely had a few of those times while we were in Africa. I broke one big giant one off, so that was really upsetting, but I had to stay calm and stay confident and keep fishing throughout the day, which is something that you really need to do all the time. And then I think Coach Uldrych was watching us. I lost a 6-pounder right at the boat. So that's the other time where kind of just got to sit down, take a breather, but then you got to get right back and keep going.
I agree. Zach?
Yeah. So one of the big things that my dad always tells me is you're never out of it until you got to go weigh in. You can always find
Looks
that
like he
last
has a
fish.
connection issue.
Yeah.
What's that?
Looks like he has a connection issue.
Who?
Zach. Yeah.
He's working.
All right. Can you repeat what you said, Zach? Sorry about that, buddy.
I just said that the one thing my dad always tells me is that you're never out of it until the very end. You can always get your last fish right at the very end if you're able to.
Yep. I seen that in Portugal too. Team England, let me tell you, watch out for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They are hammers. I seen these guys, they had a Xander in the net within the first 3 minutes, and on the way in, 3 minutes before the bell, they were releasing the last Xander. So never stop. Make sure you don't get disqualified or get points deducted for being late or anything like that, but fish till the buzzer. Go ahead, Idris.
One more important thing to add, I think that using your confidence bait is a really important thing in fishing. I think that, like, if you're struggling to do something new, just switch it back up to what you're confident with, because you're still going to catch them day in and day out with what you're confident with.
So what is the keep net system? Can you hear me? What is the keep net system? Clint go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'm in the background here. I'm in the background. How's it? Hello. Yes, I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So KeepNet is a catch and release system that we utilize here in Zimbabwe. It's basically a system where you catch and release your fish literally on the spot. A video system is done for the weigh-in, and you literally show the scale on 0, show the fish on the scale, show the successful release of the fish. It was a massive difference for us for mortality, particularly in a place where it is as hot as Africa is. We're finding that we're actually able to keep our fish alive, get those fish back in the water within a couple of seconds. We're actually bringing it to the States. We're fishing a few tournaments there. But yeah, Alex is coming to the States with me in June, and he'll be there for 3 months. So we're really promoting KeepNet into America, and we'd love some of you guys to talk to your high schools and see if they want to adopt it. We'd love to try and get it into your high schools.
What part are you guys coming to when you come in June?
So we're obviously there for World Championships, high school World Championships in Grove, Oklahoma. We're fishing Grand Lake. So I'll be there for that. But Alex is going to spend 3 months in the States, and he's actually going to travel around America, wants to promote the system, talking to various schools, colleges, tournament trails. So yeah, if you've got some contacts for us, reach out. We'd love to see KeepNet being used more. It's a very successful thing. And I think maybe chat to 1 or 2 of those kids and get their experiences on it.
Yeah, I know with all the international tournaments, it is required to be catch and release, especially overseas, because most of their fish are very pressured or maybe have a lower population. So it's an interesting thing. And we're big on that with kayak fishing. It's just CPR, catch, photo, release, right? But when it comes to the walleye tournaments in Ohio, it's actually illegal to hold a walleye tournament and release the fish just because of mortality rates. But I'd be interested in learning more about that. That sounds pretty interesting.
Did any of you guys want to share information on that, how you found it?
Did any of you guys want to talk about the system? Go ahead, Jackson.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. It was really cool. We have kind of the Major League style out here that the pros have, and it was the closest thing I can explain to that. But it works in team tournaments. There's not another thing out there. There's Tourney X, but that's, measurements, but keep net. We were able to weigh the fish, show it to the camera, so it's all legit. The scales are all checked, and we didn't have a single fish die. I don't know when the last time I fished a tournament and didn't have a single fish die. And I've been fishing all over. We had Worlds, and we've had so many big tournaments in Pickwick in the summer and Rayburn in the winter. And all these times you have a lot of fish die. And this was the only tournament I fished. I can 100% say that every single fish caught survived.
That is an extremely important factor, because if we don't protect the resource, eventually there won't be one, right?
Hundreds.
Cool. I think we got through everybody. Yeah. Did anybody want to say anything else before we jump off and let Clint go to sleep, because he looks like he's about to fall asleep over there? No? Go ahead, Jackson.
I'll say one more thing. I want to thank you so much for letting us be on this podcast, because everything we do media-wise helps us. I mean, we won't be able to get sponsors without having media or having some publicity out there. So anytime we can get any coverage on our USA Bass Youth team, I want to take it up. And I want to thank you so much for being the first podcast that we've been able to be on.
Absolutely. It's an honor. I'm a firm believer we're only as good as our future generation. So seeing you guys, do what you're doing, and then seeing you guys actually in that tournament environment and watching Clint's videos and everything, I got to say I was extremely impressed, and that's when I knew I had to bring you guys on. So, it's only right if we just kind of make it a thing, and maybe we just jump on a podcast after every international tournament. And like I said, if there's anything that I can do on and off the water, don't hesitate to let us know. We got your back. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. And I believe the Angler's Wisdom light is off. Sometimes I don't notice that. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. Next week I will practice this teleprompter. But I changed this up. What was it, yesterday? Anyways, I can't find the outro. We're just going to get out of here, guys. Kids, thanks again. And keep up the good work. I can't wait to hear what happens when you guys go to South Africa. Do we have a date on that yet? The South Africa trip? I will. I'll look up the date, and I'll try to get it in the description for everybody listening at home. And again, for everybody listening at home, if you feel you want to do your part, you want to help these young anglers achieve their dreams, or if you have a kid, or if you are a kid, and I don't mean kid, I mean young angler. I have a 19-year-old daughter that I still call a kid. So, reach out to any of us. Reach out to Clint. Reach out to Jason. Reach out to US Angling, and choose your life. But like I was saying, if you want to support these kids, you want to buy some swag, you want to just, even $1 or $2, every little bit helps, right? Head over to usangling.org. It's not com, it's actually usangling.org. And if you go to /bass-fishing-youth, you will actually go directly to the youth team. All right, guys, we will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Angler's Wisdom Podcast. Thank you for joining us today on the Angler's Wisdom Podcast. We hope you got some good insight out of the show and learned something new. Don't forget to go over to ampedoutdoors.com and support the title sponsor of the show. Follow them on social media and just show them some love. And lastly, head over to LakeErieKayakFishing.com and check out all the many resources as well as opportunities to book an unforgettable Lake Erie kayak fishing adventure with yours truly. You can also get yourself
yourself a Lake Erie kayak fishing gift card to the obsessed angler in your life. And remember, fishing is life, but safety comes first. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next Thursday live on the Angler's Wisdom Podcast.
Oh, yeah! Yeah!
Oh! Oh, it's a nice one.
Yeah!